The world is in a massive transition. Are you prepared? Hi, I'm Reverend Tracy L, and I am here to help you navigate through these uncharted waters. Many experts told me it was not possible to repair, regenerate, and restore my body. I proved them all wrong. Isn't it time for you to reclaim what is rightfully yours? If your answer is yes, then I invite you to join me while I will help you embrace the new earth and unlock your unlimited potential. Let's connect every Tuesday, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, right here on the Tracy L Clark Show, as featured on Transformation Talk Radio. The old ways of connecting are done, so let's embrace together the new and unleash the superhuman within.
Welcome back, everybody. It is another Tuesday, and this year is just going by. I hope you all made it through the eclipse okay. I know many of you called in last week. You were going through the ups and downs, and they're not going to stop. You know, people always ask me, what's the timing of all of this stuff? Well, it's up to the universe. The more of us that wake up, the quicker it goes. The more people want to have lessons, the slower it goes. So throw your timelines out the window and have some fun. That's what we're going to be all about today. I'm pretty excited. I know people had asked us, is the VIP clearing package up? It is finally in our store. We got our store ready, tracylclark.com. So yes, it is there. It is ready to go. And that's it's a cool package because it actually allows you to have clearings, activations, teachings, audios you can listen to over and over. So go there in the store. I think it's $97, and it's going to help get you through these next few months. But so is creativity. So we are so excited today because a lot of people forget that creativity is actually one of our keys to manifesting. And so often when we grow up, it doesn't fit in the normal box, which means there can be a struggle around your creativity. You can feel guilty about being creative. And this is such an important piece of what's actually transitioning in the Aquarius age, is getting back to your creative roots. That might be playing, singing, drawing, painting. And, you know, you all have a spark within you. And this is what today's show is. And my incredible guest, who's an incredible artist. I have a piece you can see behind me here, our hand logo, and you're going to see, I get chills. You're going to see why it's so beautiful to get into your creativity. And why do I have chills? Because she channels what she paints. She doesn't sit there and look at a picture. She's channeling. And when it comes to creative work in you, this is what it's about. When you want to get off that couch and shake your little booty and have some fun, it's because you're channeling the energy that's coming through. So we're going to have fun today. We're going to talk about channeling your energy. We're going to see some incredible pieces and how our beautiful guest, Milene, actually came about doing her beautiful work. And I have a massive piece from her. I will say it's in my office. You can't see it. It's over there on the wall. It's as tall as I am. I'm 5'10", so it's very big. And the energy that comes off this piece when I work is absolutely beautiful. I know many members of our community have also been able to enjoy her work. It's always a fight when we do our Christmas give backs and stuff in the auctions and the raffles. She's donated some of her work to us, and we feel so grateful that help people in need too, because she's always giving back. And people are like, please, I want my raffle. Like that. If not, then they got to go buy one. So Milene, I want to thank you for coming today. I can't thank you enough for joining me.
Tracy, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's been a journey, and I'm just so grateful to be here and grateful to share my art with your community and just to help bring some joy into people's lives, especially in this time of we're all going through major transitions and we all need some creativity. And I find beautiful art lifts up us in our space just a little bit more.
It does. And you know what? I love you got some pieces, mine. I have chills as we're talking. Like literally, I'm covered in goosebumps head to toe because I love what you said about having beautiful art. And this is one thing, like when I come to work and I'm in my office space and I look and I know, like, I wish people could see it, but then you'll see my mess over there. So you can see this one. but the energy that comes off of work, like there's a big difference between work, like how you channel it through, and you're going to go to the store and just buy a print off the wall. There's a huge energetic difference. And I want people to also understand that. But I also want to, where I want to start, because you said it very well. During this time, there's comfort, there's soothing, there's healing when we have beautiful pieces to be able to look at, right? And beautiful art pieces. When did you realize that you were channeling your pieces? Because you channel, and then I want to talk about the gold you use, because it's very important for people that understand energy.
I think I've.
I love it. Oh, I thought was up. I'm like, of course my daughter wants to call me right now. I've been texting her for 3 days saying I need to talk to you, and then she wants to. I thought that was turned off.
I love it. It's all good. It's I just find it's spherical. Mine is going up to answer your machine. Forget it. I've always channeled, and I just believe in the last couple of years I've started accepting my gifts more and saying it's fine. And I think I really came and honored those gifts after the death of my father. I was like, you know what? I think it's time. And just to embody that. And it's funny you say that. So last week I was guided to create a painting. I'll show you. And in this, I don't know if you could see it. So,
oh, beautiful. Yes.
Thank you. So it's when you ask when I was guided to channel. So as a kid, I was bullied very badly in school, and I didn't do my assignments. So I would do this, my hand on the table, and I would look away, and I would pray for a better world, a world where there was no systems. As I was guided, so no internet, the dog doesn't want to walk, everything that could stop me from doing what I wanted to do. Nope. So I was like, okay, I'm going to create this painting. And the message I got was, you always had it in you, but I chose not to accept it. Like most of us, sometimes we don't want to listen to our own gifts. And that was the thing. So that painting was like, the old is done. This is the new. It's a simple painting. I was like, but there's no image. And I did it with my left hand. I'm right-handed. So Spirit was like, the opposite of everything you've always known. Now you go the other way. And I'm like, okay. I had no control. It just flowed. It wasn't me, it was Spirit. And I kept getting images of the whole new world, everything crumbling. And they were like, it's going to happen sooner than we think. Yeah. And it's not as hard. And it's about what you said in today's video, trust, no believe. And I was like, I get it. And that was the channeling. And I was saying, sometimes we just got to trust those gifts that have always been inside, but we get disconnected with society, and they're always there. And I didn't trust them growing up.
Yeah. Can you tell what was it like being bullied, but, and I can relate in terms of these school systems, but I'm not creative. I draw stick men. Like, you know that I draw stick men. That's why I have your paintings, because no one wants me to draw. But what was it like being a young person and being bullied? Because I think a lot of people go through this or have gone through it. They're adults now or going through it if they have children going through it. But feeling like you knew you had this creative gift, but it couldn't come out. It wasn't accepted because you were not going to now go to university and be a lawyer or a doctor. No offense to lawyers and doctors, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think, you know what, Tracy, it was what kept me going. And I was tuning in this energy. And when I was in school, so when I drew on my desk, I was forced to wash my desk. So I learned not to draw on my desk. So I was like, okay, if I drew on my assignments, marks were deducted. I'm like, okay, so I didn't. So the one thing that I drew on was my clothes. And luckily my mother wasn't hard on it. And that was the thing that was accepting for me. So I was like, I could draw on my clothes or my arms, wherever I could draw, and I wouldn't get punished. So I was like, I took comfort in drawing on my clothes. And I believe that's what kept me going. In those times, in the basement where we lived, I would draw on the walls. And I think it's parents need to come into terms. Not all of us learn the same way. I didn't learn the same way.
I didn't.
And I think it's like, let your child, if they want to draw on the wall, we could wash the walls. You could paint the walls. And
Yeah.
let's be creative in our own way when we've been so shut down by society that you're not allowed to do X, X, Y, and Z. Doesn't mean we're not going to be fine, because we will be fine. It's just we all learn differently. And sometimes, as creative children who think different or feel different, we need different outlets to express who we are. And through, for me, it was art, being creative. It's what really saved me. And I think if I wasn't creative, I would have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah, that creativity, that channeling, and that connection.
Yeah.
And I can imagine like having so much of that, like you said, just as a child, feeling like a misfit, like, or why is this not allowed? Like you say, you can't draw on a book. Why can't you draw on your book? Like, I'm sorry, but we don't even keep those assignments, right? Like they just get thrown out, or you get the assignment done. And I think that this is a beautiful thing that's birthing in the world right now. And why I'm so thrilled to have you here is that we are going to start looking at children, and we're going to start looking at how we learn and the creativity and what happens there very, very differently. And I love that you've been saying, Charlie's playing in the background there, guys. You can hear him. See, he's just getting into trouble today. This is our day of trouble. Who knows what we get? But, I think there's a lot of children out there that are feeling like you, where they're feeling that I don't fit, or I'm not going to be successful as an artist. And I'd love you to address that, because you're a successful artist and your paintings people love and they're drawn to and they want. And what could you say to those young people or the family that are maybe like I said, oh, well, if you're not a doctor or a lawyer, then, because what do you say to those people? They're burning. They have these beautiful, beautiful gifts like you.
Thank you. So I always say, I don't like labeling children. I believe we're all equally. So parents at times say their kid is autistic. I'm like, no, you may have certain limitations, but maybe let your kid experiment, like do light therapy, bring in colors. Color therapy is so healing. Most people don't realize the benefits of what color does for our bodies and for our souls. And I think for parents who have kids who they think they're misfits, they're not.
Mm.
Sometimes we just have to give this child an opportunity. You know what? Paint with the opposite hand. Let your kid draw with both hands. Let your kid paint on the wall. If that makes them come alive, go for it. We could wash paint. We could paint over the drawings. Like, don't stop a child from being creative. If your child wants to go paint its mugs because he doesn't like the mugs you have, so he could have his meals in peace and that gives him joy, let them. And it's like, don't ever stop a child from being creative, because that's when you kill the spirit of your child of ever achieving inner success, inner peace. It's not about being a lawyer or doctor, because sometimes they're the most miserable. I hate to say it, most miserable.
Trust me. Most of them I know, they are miserable. They're like, and their inner person is like, I want to draw, I want to dance, I want to write a book. Like they have this creativity, and I'm like, well, do it. Like, do it. And it's like you said, they get caught. One of the things that you do that's very cool in your paintings, and I love, what you use 24 karat gold.
Yes.
Which I don't know if people know, but I wear a lot of gold today. I just have my one gold chain. I feel a little naked today. Usually I have it on me. But gold is a real, it does help in your wealth vibe, sure. But it's also a very strong connection to the God of your understanding, which a lot of people don't know that. Like it's got a very nice frequency for that. What drew you? Because it's very unique, and we know it's, and the other thing is it's getting harder to get. So you're using this very unique element, but what was the moment where you're like, I'm going to start using this 24 karat gold?
So gold is God's money. There's only two things in the world: physical, it's the sun, and gold, God's money. Everything else is stuff. But that's the physical, highest vibrations we have in the physical earth. So growing up, I would go to museums and I would see, I'm like, oh, wow, that's beautiful. That resembles the sun. It's so much brightness, so much light, the energy. I didn't know, because I was like, let's be honest, I did not want to know what energy was growing up. I was like,
Yeah, nobody does.
stay away from me. Like, what's this stuff? What am I feeling? Is this real? Like this tingling in my body 24/7. Like, wait, do we see images? No, let's touch.
We're all crazy.
Totally. So I'm like, no, no, no. So I'm like, okay. And then one day I was like, 24 karat. And I was like, and I was in somebody's home and I was like, why are they using 24 karat? They had their home and their balcony done in 24 karat. And I was like, wow. And I was like,
balcony.
in their balcony.
Oh, sure. That's getting into, yeah, you've seen the 24 karat gold toilets. And I'm like, why do you want to poo in a 24 karat gold toilet?
Totally.
Wow.
And then that inspired me. And then I was like, but this person's wealth vibe's always increasing. And I'm like, I'm not talking like a little, I'm talking like just skyrocket. And
Hey,
I'm like,
your balconies in 24 karat, you're doing really well. Like,
you are, right? And then
yeah, I'll take that energy. I'll take all of it.
But not only that, but I was like spiritually, and I was like, wow. And I was like, there's something here. And then that's not kind of like, I started putting the pieces and I was like, there's more to this. And spiritually, gold symbolizes the purity and basically all that is. It's a symbol of spirituality, development of the complete realm of understanding, and allowing one to both attain and maintain communication with the source at all being, which most people don't realize. Gold's got money. Let's keep on the communication always at a high vibration. So when you're surrounded by gold, the connection's so much easier. And basically, it's like, why not be connected to the God self and the perfection of the mind, body, and spirit always? We don't want it. It's like, it's not a part-time job. It's a full-time job. More like you wake up, let's wake up. Oh, wait, I wake up at 6. I'm going to start at 7. Oh, no, honey, it doesn't work like that. It's 24/7. So why not be in the energy of bliss, of perfection of ourselves, of going higher always? And most people don't realize, but when you're surrounded by high vibration, you talk about this. Manifesting is a breeze. It's talk about speeding it up. It's like, we don't need to row that boat. That boat comes to us like it's delivered. And I think, why not? And especially in the realm of spirituality, I always find it interesting is most people are like, let's connect with crystals. Don't get me wrong. I love my crystals and I love painting with gold and crystals. But most people don't realize is when you paint or when you're connected with crystals and gold, the frequency of what you want to manifest and create, it amplifies it that much faster.
Yeah. Well, and what you're saying too, when you have the painting on the wall, like, I have a few years around me and you've got your crystals around you. You're right. That communication goes up. And what people forget, I love you said this. I say this all the time too. And we're going to reiterate. So everybody listening, God does not channel to you just when you're meditating. Like people are like, well, just stop. I'm going to meditate and get a connection. No, that is the old way. And what you're saying, Milene, is so true, because when you are surrounded by this constant level of communication, which you are, I am, you are getting messages, like you said, chills, or you're hearing things, seeing things, feeling things 24/7. Like spirit doesn't say, oh, I'm just going to just wait now. That's why when people are like, oh, I should meditate to get a message. And like, that's the old way of doing it. You need to know how to connect 24/7 because you're getting messages 24/7. So I love you said that, because it's so true. When your environment has that beauty of that high vibration, and just move your head a little bit. I want to show them the people behind you if you can. Look at how stunning this is. Can you explain this painting with the gold? It is just beautiful, because I have one of those people on mine, which I know you have 100 sayings behind it. But I know I had to kick you out of your chair, but could you?
Don't worry, it's all good. So this is a soulmate painting. So I was inspired. I was away with somebody years ago, and we were traveling, and I kept getting Isis and Asadis. And the meaning of a soulmates aren't just sexual. They come in many forms, friends. And I was inspired by soulmates. We all have baggage. We all have shit that has happened to us. None of us are perfect. God is perfect. And the black is our journeys of life, the steps we take, what happens in each phase of our life. It can be mental, heartaches, whatever. And at the end of the day, we have the light, the gold. The gold is our soul bursting open. And when we burst open, this just fades away. It's black is there to basically just say it's all God. We
Yeah.
don't see a person how they look, how the color of their skin. We see their person as the soul that they are. Because at the end of the day, that's who we are. We're just a soul. And there is nothing that is stopping from one from the other, because at the end of the day, when you meet that person, your soul will know. And
Yeah.
when your soul knows, it's like it's just complete bliss. Like your whole body starts burning up, not in sweats,
Yeah.
but like, but like in the energy of like, this is what it feels like when you're connected fully to spirit. It's basically the same energy when you meet that significant other. And I love the pink, and pink is nurturing, it's love. Some people say, why do you use so much pink? I'm like, I love pink, and the energy behind the healing of the pink is beautiful. And that's why I use it so much. But it's about finding our true other with a process of ease and grace and just letting it flow.
I love it too, because the black also is meant like it absorbs. So it can absorb, like you said, the old and make it just leave. And look at, you were talking about crystals, right? The rose quartz, the pink and the heart, and that beautiful heart energy that people use a rose quartz for, right? So it's so gorgeous. And like you said, soulmates are not just your lovers, so to speak, right? They're common, your soul families too, right? Where we meet people and we're like, wow, you feel more like a sister to me than my sister. And people go, why is that like that? Well, it's like that because that's your soul family. It's so beautiful. I love it.
So I have this one. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh,
Okay, so
Stairway to Heaven.
correct, Gateway to Heaven. So this one I was inspired after my father passed. And
Yeah.
what is the gateway to heaven? We all go through a gateway through heaven in our time of life. We all have different steps. And sometimes these steps are harder. We stay a little bit longer than we're meant to stay. But when we physically depart this physical world, we don't take anything with us. We just take the good stuff. And the back is done with.
You have a little bean, you have a little man at the top, right? Can you move over a little bit?
Yeah.
Bring it just so people can see. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, stunning.
That's us. We all are going to get there sooner or later. And the back is done with crystal. It's crushed crystal. So getting crushed crystal and applying it into artwork is a whole other process. And there's only been one other artist in the world that has done it, which is Andy Warhol. He tried to do it, but he didn't fully succeed on it. So when I was able to achieve the crushed crystals on it, for me, it was like a complete breakthrough. But I was like, why not have the meanings of crushed crystals with the gold and amplify that? So when we are, when our soul goes, it's so much easier. And it's like the crossovers of our journey is easier. And each step becomes smaller, like our journey of evolution, of where we're going, it becomes easier. And you always say it doesn't have to be hard. Yeah. And so it doesn't have to be hard, those steps that we have to take in life. Yeah. And those children that feel outcast, they're not, it doesn't have to be hard for them. And if it gives them healing through paintings, go for it. But if something else, just let them be.
I love that. And I know as someone who's visited the other side a few times, and you're so correct. Like I joked, I think you heard me say this the other day. So we don't even take our meat suits with us. Like we take nothing with us, nothing. We're just all going to go, we'll meet each other on the other side. But yeah, it doesn't. As humans, we make it so difficult rather than just the enjoyment of the pleasure. And one of the things when I look at art and artists and this creativity energy that I love so much, it brings also together, like you said, communication, but harmony of families, like, and harmony of the joy and the fun that we can have versus just, buying a purse to fill the void. You're painting something, or I did try pottery once. You wouldn't want that either, guys. Like, it was a pretty big disaster, but I tried it as an adult. I thought instead of drinking, I'd go do pottery going through my divorce. One other thing I added, but it was a very interesting, I guess, ashtray at the end. I don't know, but it is, the fun of it was there. Like, I have a memory that I tried it. Like, was a dancer. That was more my space for creativity. But when you're in this space, there's memories and joy. So even if it doesn't turn out beautiful like yours, mine wasn't beautiful, but I have great memories of throwing, on that pottery wheel with friends and laughing and just bringing like people together. Right. And one of the things I love that art does for us, which I see and know, especially with children, is even when you're painting and creating, like, don't you find you're just lost? Like, the hours just go.
Oh, always. And it's like, sometimes I'm like, oh my, it's already like, I have to go shower and go to bed. You spend a whole day, you forget to eat. It's like you always said, it's like you come up for oxygen as if you're in Vegas. And that's at times it's like, because time just flies. And I think that's when you're in the energy, things just flow. And it's so easy. And it doesn't have to be hard.
What did you find you did to make it easier for you? Because this is your niche. This is what, like you were talking about crushed crystals. Like, I wouldn't have even thought of that. Like, were you just sleeping in your bed and all of a sudden you went, oh my God, like, I got to crush this? Or
So
what
this
is
is
that?
like this is crushed crystals. I don't know if you can see. It's
Yeah.
super tiny. And yeah, so it takes a lot of these to get a painting. What was easy? Sometimes, Tracy, it wasn't always easy. There were days I fought with it and I was like, I don't want to do this. And you question. And then there are days I'm pushed to do it. The same painting as I was pushed to do last week. And I get the messages because sometimes we don't want to trust because we're trained in society not to trust. Because if we trust, we tap into our own true potential. So I had to really dig deep. And with your help and this journey of life, sometimes it became easier. And there are moments, it's like, I'm looking at one of my paintings, it's the no guts, no glories. And those were words where my dad said to me at a really tough time in my life where I was giving up on a major project, just found out major betrayal had happened. And I didn't think, and
Wow.
tears rolling drenched down in my face and everything. My dad turns to me, he goes, Fia means daughter, no guts, no glory. And those words carried me for quite a while. And they were carried me when my dad died. And when I painted this painting years ago, it was like, okay, no guts, no glory. That was one of the first paintings that got me back into painting.
Wow.
And were those words not that carried me, but I was like, I need to see this every day. It's not just saying it in your mind when you know it's tough. So I created that. And then that was the first one. Then the second one came, it was easier. And then there are moments in between you question it, but then it's like, no, I'm just going to paint. And sometimes it's like, no, I don't just paint because if I'm not channeling, I can't paint and I need to be in that space.
What are some of the things you find that you create in your environment so other people can have this, that all of a sudden get you in that space?
Yeah.
Like, more inspiration for you. Like, what do you do?
So I need an environment where it's easy. I always find I'm like foraging and I'm like, I don't need this. It's out the door. Or if like things remind me of somebody, I was like, oh, get this out of my life. I do not want this. I'm like, the person's gone, but I'm still holding it. I was like, time to go. And it's like, you know what, if it means like, I use my Palo Santo and even before I came on, things like that help me. Or if I use my oils, super love, I use my toning oils with rose oils, and that helps me connect. It starts my day easier. It's those little things, and they give you little pushes. It's having an environment, if it means having beautiful music always in the background, or if I'm taking the dog for a walk, it's the simple things that help me connect, help my environment. Because if you don't have an environment that you love, you don't need to live in a 50,000 mansion. Like, you could live in a small little condo, but if your space is you, if you take care of it the way most people forget, we take care of our physical, we go to the gym to work out, but sometimes we forget to take care of our homes. But that's the most important space. It makes it easier to take care of everything else. So it's the little things that help.
Yeah, it's interesting. So many people, I find that they will spend time. They forget to do their inner work. So
Correct.
everything's external, like you said. And then the home, and I always say your home needs to be the place that when you open the door, you're like, "Oh, I'm home."
Correct.
I find sometimes if I was driving from somewhere and maybe I didn't want to be there, I'm like, okay, I'm almost home. I'm almost home, because when I walk in my home, like you said, it's my safe space. It's everything, the
Correct.
smells, the sounds, the things you're looking at, like they're all frequencies. And it's so important. So people listening, like it's so important. Purging, like you said, like, I don't know about you, I've been purging like a crazy lady again. I'm like, okay, that can go, that can go, that can go. And we all know when we're purging, we're creating space to be able to bring new things into our environment. And so for people that are listening right now, it's so important that you do understand that your environment, because I'm sure if you had a space that was super cluttered, like you said, had old love notes and old whatever kicking around and whatever, you wouldn't want to paint in there.
No.
You wouldn't be inspired. Or if you had laundry like coming up to, past your butt, you'd be like, I'm not feeling very motivated. It would feel more bogged down, right?
Correct. And it's funny, you said about doing inner work. When I don't start my day, I spend about an hour, at times over an hour in the morning, just connecting. I do your videos, I do what I need to do to make me happy. I don't start my day till that's done. And it's not just like, if the days I've missed that, oh my mind is like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, I don't focus, think there's no, like, God forbid, there's no internet. And I know it's like, guess what? That's my time where I connect to spirit, to myself. And I have to honor that because that's me. And if you don't honor yourself in that time commitment of lifting yourself in inner words, because if we don't do that, this is just stuff. And it's a lot harder to do what we need to do.
And it's also what's interesting, and I find that too, like before I get out of bed, I have my routine I do, right? And people seem surprised, but I'm like, no, because like you said, when you've done your inner work and you've cleaned that, you become a clearer conduit for those channelings you get for when you're ready to create, right? And then all of a sudden you get that vision very clear and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to paint this. Like I gotta, and I'm sure you can correct me here, because I like I said, this is your area, but I'm sure some paintings you can get through in an hour, 2 hours, like, oh my gosh. And then other ones, they can take days depending on
Yeah.
what you're seeing.
And it's true. And it's like, Tracy, it's some paintings just flow. The one I did last week. And, there's layers of obviously that I have to do paint, let paint dry, and then the gold. And
Yeah.
some paintings, it takes, like, I've started one, I think the beginning of the year, and it's just sitting against the wall because I can't get my soul back into it. And I'm like, okay, I'm just leaving it. I don't force it. When I'm guided, I will go back to it. But our environments play such a big importance. I'm being guided to share with this.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to do a lot of purging when I say this. So, a while ago, I was like, I seen somebody and I was like, oh my, they have a beautiful painting. It's a beautiful artist. But I was like, the person, one is laying in bed and the other one's running off. And I was like, huh. And then
Oh,
I seen, and I know, and I was like, seeing the person, I was like, ooh, this person has a lot of failed relationships where all their significant others always leave. And I was like, you keep that painting above your bed. And
oh my gosh. What are the bad enough to have the painting, but above the
totally,
bed? Oh my God.
totally.
The worst thing
Well,
energetically, everything is energy.
totally. So it's like people choose to have things in their lives. It doesn't matter how much it costs.
Yeah.
That's one example of like, what do you have in your environment? it's like, it doesn't matter who gave it to you or how much you paid for it. If it has shitty ass energy, get it out.
Yeah, no, you're so true though. Like that is the thing. Like if you that is a great example of being very aware of what you're putting in your environment.
Yeah.
Because now if that's in your bedroom and you're looking at someone running out the door, no wonder your failed relationship. Like it's messaging and you see it over and over. It's the same thing that if people, you might have heard me say it this way too. People sometimes are surprised if they pick up a thought around maybe it's medicine or weight gain or something or aging. And I'm like, but think you're sitting on a train every day, because a lot of people I work with, they commute a lot. Well, they used to, right? And so you're on the train, look at all the advertising just going by day after day. It's the same image, right? It's the same messaging. So if you've got artwork above your bed that's saying that, you might want to like turf it out of there.
Totally.
Or even in your kitchen, or your house. Or
I always find it's like, or people who have gone through divorces, and I'm like, you choose not to get rid of X, Y, and Z. But I'm like, that was from your marriage. Like, that was a wedding gift. I'm like, maybe get rid of that. You also break the patterns of what happened in that situation. And I always find it's like, you choose to put things in your home that aren't uplifting, and then you wonder why things aren't flowing. And it's like, we don't physically, we don't need a lot as humans. And when we're connected, that's all we need, because things are easier. And we've been at home for months, for years now, for about a year and something.
Year and a half. Year and a half.
A year and a half. And if we spend all this time at home, and let's say a child spending at home, and you're wondering why a child is overactive, is misbehaving, let's look at its environment. Let's get the kid, like, you know what, clean out the room. And do we really need everything? And just, okay, let's see, if you get a couple inexpensive paint brushes and things, get the child creative. And maybe that opens the door.
I don't want to, but this, guys, you got to listen to what she's saying here, because what has happened, and I see this with a lot of children, because they've spent more time now playing video games and on the TV. They're not outside playing with their friends. They're not creating. They're not, like, I don't care if my kid used to want to get on a guitar. It didn't sound pretty. My other one has a ukulele. It didn't sound pretty, but that was fun. Now they can draw. They are incredible drawers, like an artist. That, like I said, I'm a stick person. They didn't get it from me. My mom's an incredible drawer, and she's recently got back into painting. And so proud, because when we were little kids, she, in the basement, she painted the entire Winnie the Pooh. Like, these pictures look like Winnie the Pooh was actually in our house, right? But then, like you said, through life and all these things get in the way, she stopped. And now she's gotten back into it over the last year, and you can see more joy, more peace. And this is for children. Like, if you let children draw and paint and color and keep that creativity, or sing or dance, or get them an instrument, even though you're going, I don't want to hear it anymore, it's life-changing. But it also, like you said, it awakens the soul. Like, if people could see energetically when they put their kids in front of the TV over and over, I'm not saying there isn't a time for it, guys, or video games, it shuts their field down, reprograms the brain. Just like you were saying, you got a picture above your bed of somebody like leaving the relationship. Well, you got these kids playing video games that are actually, harming other people. What do you think is imprinting? Like, I'd rather give them, like you said, I was that mom, as much as weird. I had an unfinished basement. And I love that you said this, because I had an unfinished basement. So I was the mom who let my kid go down and put like paper mache all over the floor and paint all over the walls. And because it wasn't finished, I'm like, who cares? I'll wipe it up, like you said. And I'll tell you, it was freeing for them. And I really believe, because I'm not creative like they are that way, but I believe what you said. I think it gave them the foundation to be free. And I haven't thought about that for years until we just started talking. And that's something I know my kids still remember doing. They weren't playing well, of course, we didn't let video games in the house back then, but they're in their 20s. But you're so correct. Like, it lets them get in touch, especially in this last year and a half.
We need to be in touch, even as adults. It's,
Yeah.
we got to get in touch with ourselves, because that's when conflicts arise in life with your significant others, those that you live, your friends, and then you question everything. It's like, you got to be, we all have that inner child with us. For you was dancing, for me was being creative. And we got to tap in. I'm going to bring this person on. I love Connie, and Connie always tells me she's always dancing, and I love that about her. It's like she
Go,
goes,
go, go. Like, here I am. I know who you're talking about. Yes.
"Totally." So it's
But
like,
she learned to dance again, which made that creativity come through.
correct. And why do we as adults have to stop being creative? Why do we have to listen to society and say, "Oh, I'm going to stop"? No, that's what they want. We were born misfits. I hate to say that word, but at the end of the day, we weren't misfits. We were just so light ahead of us that we were born to be different, because we are born to lead the world differently. And if it means through dance, through art, through singing, that's how we're supposed to be. And why do we need to wait for something to happen into our lives to be creative, to get back into dancing? Why don't we just continue? If it means once a week, we devote an hour, half an hour, and we dance away, and we have that fun and we bring it back. And if I just find, if we have that in our lives, things are a lot easier to process, and the
Well, that
connection.
childlike faith and that childlike play, you grow up and then it's like, be responsible, stop doing that. That's such like a child. And we're told that over and over, right? So we stop because I believe energetically, like for me, creativity is channeling. I channel all day long. I have fun. A lot of people know that. That to me is fun. Like I'm having so much joy when I'm always channeling information. And it is my creative space. And I realized that was one of my, obviously it's what I do today. So creative gifts, but think of all the times, even you probably faced it, where like, grow up, be an adult, sit down, don't say that, don't do that. But the elites of the world and those institutions that are crumbling right now, whether it's, government, religion, they're going to crumble. They're not going to crumble overnight, guys. They've been there for 2000 years, but they're crumbling now. They instilled that, like all of that programming, because they knew if you were in the full creative aspect like you are, being able to do what you love every day, painting and sending paintings out into the world, that would change the world. Then people would love more, they'd be more happy, they'd be more joyous, and there'd be less fear. And I think in the world right now where there's so much fear, right? When we get into our creativity, we get into that energy of love, which dissipates fear, which means we're all playing and coming together.
Correct. The one thing I just got was, we're forced to go to school.
Right.
For some of us, if we've been homeschooled, amazing, but a lot of us haven't. We were forced to go. We
Mhm.
have the art class, what, once a week, half an hour?
Oh, I don't
And
think you had that. I think you're lucky if you got that. I think it was
you
like for us every other week. And, yeah,
and let's look at that. Teachers
yeah.
aren't much creative, most of them that I know, and they're trained by a book. That's
Mm.
the same formula in the same book for the last how many years? 50 years?
100. They actually did a study
Oh,
that said
did
the
they?
school system has not changed. My mom and I were just talking about this. This system has not changed in 100 years. Think how outdated this is, guys. Get your kids out of the school system. Yeah, agree.
Correct. And
Yeah,
look how, okay, so you're learning the same thing over 100 years, half of it's all complete lies.
it is.
And
Yeah.
and we all
Doesn't
know
teach you
how,
any life skills or creativity. No,
no,
no.
nothing. They don't teach you anything. Just complete like,
My ears
let's
are
fail.
ringing. I'm like, okay, I hear yes. That's who's
Correct.
here coming in. Like, hello. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like they teach you how to fail at life, basically.
Yeah, they do. How to be a slave. They teach you how to be a slave.
Correct. So
They've done.
what about teaching kids how to be creative, how to speak up, how to empower the world, how to grow your own foods? Sustainability within a child. Children are capable. We're all capable of that. We all have that little inner child. It's what society has taught us, how to be small, how to keep us in a box, how not to be creative, how not to think, how not to speak. But guess what? We all have it in us. And this is why we've talked about this. There's so many thyroid issues going around with people is because they've been shut down by what the mainstream media, it's like turn on your TV when you wake up and it's ongoing, the same news. But guess what? Where is our inner thoughts or voice? Oh, wait, it's been shut down by society. And it's like, let's get that crap away. Get rid of the cable. And like, I always think people say, oh, it's so much money, like supplies. I'm like, how much money are you paying a cable? Like, shut off your cable TV. And you put that towards, like, if it means your child gets to be creative, there you go. You could buy your kid a bike at the end of 1 month if you shut off your cable, and your child could go in the park riding its bike. Or you could put that to, what people always say.
A ukulele, some colorings. Yeah.
You can learn, or you could be, if it means you like to knit, you can knit yourself. But there's so much creativity in the world. It's just, we've been bombarded with so much crap that we don't even know how to think half the time. So I don't know, if we can't even think, how could you even be creative?
And you know what I love about this too, and you and I had this conversation, and I just was reminded to bring it up, was how much art has been actually steered as well by the elites, that is actually, people don't even get this in our world, that is not good frequency, like you said, not good vibration, but they get these, famous titles. But the art world, and what people deem to be beautiful and famous, is actually been very tied, and people don't talk about this. So I know we're getting to the top of the hour, so we got a good 10 minutes, but you know what? That art world has been same tied as you hear the way they raise singers, the way they raise movie stars to put a certain message into the world. They've done that in the art world. And this is a reason I love your art, because it's about love, compassion, kindness, connecting to the God of your understanding. But people don't even realize that.
No, and I know I don't want to drop names, but she's one of the biggest artists that every Hollywood person supports. People go crazy for her artwork. And I'm like, how crazy is it? This is somebody who's so demonic, and they find it's fine killing children for their blood. And people think this, and people are paying just like to get a canvas with a bit of blood, millions. And I'm like, you want that in your art, in your house? And they're like, I don't know about me, but that's not something I want to live with.
It's
and
true.
People go crazy, and people who don't understand like the messages or energy, they think that's like the most beautiful thing. And I always remember being in class in London, and we were watching the auctions. And I'm like, this is the most corrupt bullshit that we're going.
And it is, because it's been positioned, because they want that art. Guys, you got to listen. You don't even know this. You got to look around your house. They want that art in the homes, because it perpetuates the energy. Back to what we were saying at the top of the hour, when you were talking about the gold, the communication, the connection to God, right? The God of your understanding. That is different, but they want that in there because that energy lowers the vibration of the house. It brings in these weird thoughts. You and I've heard it. People who they bring in art pieces that are of that, and they start having bad dreams. Things go sideways in their house. Like, guys, this is big. Like, no one talks about this. It's huge.
And I'll just say, so you've been talking about the power zone for the last week. And this image just came to me. So I remember watching this unknown artist, like a major collector, just bought her art, whole collection. And all of a sudden she explodes. And I remember just thinking, everybody's like raving about this art. And I'm like, it's not nice that women's power zones are all cut up. And you wonder why all of a sudden this is what the message is going out in somebody's world. And all this artist did was women's reproductive centers were destroyed. And I was like, how is this right? And I always think, so it's fine for an artist.
Control, right? It's your center of creativity, and it is your center of a lot of damage over the years. Yeah.
Correct. But people were paying, especially a specific man, all this. And I'm like, how is this right? And then I was just like, you know what? Most people don't realize, but when you connect crystals, gold, God's money,
Yeah.
into things that are like, you don't have to, I'm not saying go have your house drenched in gold. This is not Donald Trump.
No.
Nothing against the man.
Gold
But
toilets, no.
but but when you connect to things that are high vibration, it's your spiritual sense and development of understanding goes, like, it increases. And we don't need all this stuff, but you got to be mindful of how you choose to be creative, what you choose to bring into your home, because that also helps with your overall well-being, not only
Uh,
ourselves but our pets. And like, let's talk about people in Egypt would cover their dead with gold, and only a select few would be allowed to touch them, to go and see them. Why is that?
yeah.
Oh, because they believe so heavily in afterlife and the power of gold. There isn't a reason why. Let's talk about why Roosevelt took out the gold in the U.S. There's a reason, because that was physical money. And Jeremy always talks about this. It's physical money. It's your
Coming
money.
next week.
Correct.
He's coming on next week. Yeah.
And they can't
Yeah.
touch it. And let's talk about in India, 10% of the women today own jewelry, the highest in the world. Why is that? That jewelry still in today in 2021, they could get a loan on that. And if they don't have fiat, which we all know where that's going,
Yeah.
they could exchange that for something. There is a reason why there is a shortage in the world in physical gold. If
Yeah.
we truly know what it means, you know where it's going, and it's high vibration. And you always talk about like energy. What is energy? We
Yeah.
have to go inwards and believe it starts with inside. Everything else is a bonus.
Yeah.
And if
And
it means
those frequencies that are moving and channeling, and you're blessed because be able to paint in this 24 karat gold is pretty incredible. I know, as we're almost out of
yeah.
time, what do you want to leave for the listeners? What do you want them to know? One, where can they find you? How can they get a hold of your paintings, your website, Instagram, and what do you want to leave with them?
So you Milene, www.mileneart.com. I have to think about how to spell my own name too.
It'll be on the show notes too. You guys will see it on the
Correct.
runner, and we'll have it for you too. So don't worry.
I would just say, don't ever stop being creative. Don't listen to that little voice that tells you you can't, even though it could be a stick figure. Let that stick figure come alive, because it may not be through art, through drawing, that you're going to get your calling, but it might be through something else that you might just find what you need in that moment, because there's a little bit of us in everything. And sometimes we just got to let ourselves be and trust that we could do it. It does not everybody's meant to be an artist, and not everybody's meant to be a singer. I'm sure not. But
Me either. I'll sing in the shower in my car, but I don't know if anyone else wants to hear me sing. But
but I just say, for those that have children that are struggling, let them be creative. Turn off the TV. You know what? Take your kids for a walk if you can, and let the child be creative. And if they paint on a wall, guess you could paint over it. Don't be hard on a child who's different, because that's when we have issues in the long run. I hate to say that, but just let the kids be creative. And if it's an adult, go have fun and paint the world away.
yeah, well, and like you said, like celebrate that childlike faith and
Correct.
celebrate the creativity within you. And that's just so beautiful. I know we have just like probably 2 minutes. Can you quickly show the painting on your right there?
This one?
Yes,
Or
very
which one?
the other side.
Oh,
Yeah. The
oh,
one we haven't seen yet. I know we only have like a couple minutes, but if we can do
oh,
it really quickly.
okay. Oh,
It's so beautiful. You have to see this, everybody. Is
okay.
that
Oh, wait.
what was it called? I'll let you tell them.
Okay, so this one was fly free. So it
Yeah.
means basically fly free. So where we've been hindered down through everything we just talked about, and you are given the opportunity to fully fly free in every area of life. There's no clipping your wings, but your wings are fully there. And sometimes they grow back, and you just soar into the unknown, because that's what life's about. That's where we're going, into a more beautiful place in the world.
I love it. I love it. And that is such a beautiful note for us to fly free. I can't thank you enough for joining us. The hour goes so quick. We don't take breaks, actually. We're having too much fun. I can't
Thank
thank
you.
you enough for coming and sharing. And your work is absolutely stunning. And it's like you said, what you have on your walls is very much affecting what's going on within. So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you again, Milene, for coming, and I just love you and honor you. And, check her out. We'll have all the notes below. So don't worry, you'll be able to watch it, whether it's on my YouTube and Transformation Talk Radio. So you can go and explore more of her art. So please keep your childlike faith, keep your creativity going. It's so important for what's unfolding over this next year. Like I see 2023, 2025, we have a lot of stuff to go through. And if you can keep your creativity going, you're going to be blessed even more, and your brain is going to feel amazing, and you'll be free. So as we said earlier, Jeremy Wiseman's joining me next week to talk about God's money, gold and silver, and what is happening and why it's been in the toilets for the last 6 months. It really hasn't. It's been doing very well, but there's a bit of misperception. So if you want to understand a little bit more what's going on energetically and in the financial space, join us here next week, same time, same place. And with that, I hope you guys have an incredible week, and check us out at tracylclark.com, because the store finally got up and those anointing oils we were talking about are finally there too. So have an incredible week, everyone. Thank you again. And we will see you all next Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to the Tracy L Clark Show with me, Tracy L, where I teach you how to connect to the God consciousness so you can unlock your superpowers and connect at light speed and live your extraordinary life. Tune in every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio, where together we will unlock the secrets of your body and your life. As the founder of the Body Regeneration Academy, I, Tracy L, will provide you with the insight and simple tools you can apply right now in your life to move you forward and leave the past in the dust. To join the Body Regeneration TLC Online Academy, make sure you check me out at tracylclark.com.